Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very last session of the 2025 Courageous Leadership Colloquium. It has been quite a journey. The ideas that we have shared, the directions we've gone with looking at what courage is, what leadership is, and how it operationalizes out in the world have been absolutely fantastic. And I'm so glad that you have been here with us to be on the journey. So as we think about where we go from here, we can look at this picture and think, wow, the world is our oyster. We have so many places we can go. Everything is open to us in terms of where we might want to lead, where we might want to influence, where we might want to create change. But at the same time, when we look at this picture, it's not just about what we're going to do, but also about what we can be thankful for and what we can appreciate about the opportunities we have, about the mentors that we have had along the way, about the lessons that we have learned, and how all of that has provided fuel and has provided encouragement, and at the same time has also created a little bit of fear about, wow, we can actually do really huge things, and sometimes that's a little bit overwhelming. But I'm excited that during these past 2 days, we have filled our toolboxes with some ideas, with some strategies, with some tactics, and we've built relationships that can help us to be grateful for all of the journey up till now and be optimistic about the direction that we can go and be courageous in the risks that we take and the investments that we make to create positive change in ourselves, in our families, in our communities, and in our world. So let's take a few minutes to reflect on how this past 2 days really impacted us in terms of our thinking and our leadership journey. So we're going to reflect on these 2 days. I'm going to collect some shared stories and see what your new perspectives may be. This is bringing it all together from inspiration to action. So hopefully you've been inspired and maybe you have some thoughts about what's next for your leadership journey. And also it helps us to make that transition from learning to doing and thinking about what it means to live the life of a courageous leader. So I'd like to ask, and if you could turn on your cameras, that would be great. But if you just want to talk, that's fine. I would like you to share with us what are the 2 or 3 or just one most powerful ideas, insights, or takeaways from the colloquium that you want to carry forward?
I think that my favorite thing from today, because we got to talk a little bit yesterday about all of the events yesterday, so I want to focus on today, was the learning to be a creative leader. It was, what was his name?
Oh, Peter.
Peter, who is going to be my teacher here soon. That entire process, it like brought me back to like a really great place, and I think it I've been really focusing recently in my life on trying to um respark the love for a lot of things that I lost earlier on in my life. And so I think that really brought me back to like this place, and it reminded me that I need to, yeah, really focus on holding space for those experiences to help me be a more creative and courageous leader. I think,
I'm so I'm so happy that you had that experience and that it brought you to that place. And it was neat that you mentioned some of the experiences that you had when we were in that session that you were really excited that we're coming back. That's awesome.
yes, I'm really excited. It was such a great day.
Awesome. Alana, is there anything that you found in the past couple days that you want to carry forward?
I I only caught a couple of parts of a couple of sessions, but I liked what you were talking about with improvisation. I think it was a reminder of how valuable that is, and something that I can look at including in my life.
Awesome. Yep, it's definitely an easy add. So I'll be excited to know how you incorporate it in as a practice and as an implementation in the things that you lead. Awesome. And then we did have Eric here, but he's disappeared. So I'll ask him next week in class. So just a quick review of some of the big ideas that we really used as our foundation. Our definition of leadership. It's a process between leaders and followers. Leaders and followers are both involved. And in order to engage in that process, leaders and followers have to continue to identify the knowledge, skills, and abilities that they need to influence the group or participate as a group member in moving toward a common goal. So it's really all about finding those KSAs that are going to empower us to do that work and fulfill our role in that leadership equation. We also we dug in a bit to the fact that leadership itself is ethically neutral, that it's the goal and the tactics that can either put us in a positive trajectory or negative trajectory. So evaluating our goals and our tactics is very important, and those of others, and choose whether or not we're going to stay in that leadership equation with them. Leadership is broadly accessible. If folks can gain the skills and they can bring people together, they can lead, which is super exciting. And then finally, leadership looks very different in lots of different contexts. And so we have to decide how to bring together the knowledge, skills, and abilities in a way that's going to adapt to, using our improv, adapt to that context and choose the best strategies to help us move forward. And if we're not sure, we can always reach out to the University of Olivet and say, hey, what should I do next? And we can share some resources with you. So another big idea that we explored was the idea of courage and what are the core characteristics of courage. So that was on day one. And everyone doesn't have the same types of courage. There's biological courage, that physical fortitude. People can just stick with it and they have the gumption to just stay in it. Taking intellectual courage, being able to take an idea about a system or a problem to the next level and really take it apart, analyze it, and synthesize some new directions. Follower courage, being willing to be in that space where you're not necessarily leading, but you're supporting that work and supporting that leader in going the extra mile, and you're doing what needs to be done to help the team succeed. It's not about you, it's about bringing everyone forward. Moral courage, having a moral framework that can inform and uphold the work that's being done to ensure that it's being done for the right reasons and for the right goal, and using the right tactics. And then creative courage, which some of us built today as we tried our improv and our creative, our creation of fanciful things and sometimes practical things, challenging the status quo and shifting paradigms. So we may have some of these characteristics, we may have one or two, we may have all of them, but they're all things that we can count on as we move forward into leadership situations. So another thing we learned yesterday was the 5 strategies that leaders can use to become courageous. That positive narrative. I so enjoyed my conversation with the basketball players today. The whole idea of positive narrative came back a number of times. We create that story. And so as a courageous leader, we can either say, we're going to just nail this or we're going to fail this. And so it's up to us to choose that positive narrative and keep it going and help our followers maintain that positive narrative. Cultivating confidence, saying, I know I can. Other humans have done amazing things. I can. I'm a human. I can do it. Maybe you're an android, maybe you can't, but cultivate the confidence that you can. Taking small steps, evaluating after each step, doing that sense-making activity where you're continually saying, am I still going in the right direction based on how the context has changed? So take small steps, evaluate, adapt as necessary so you can continue moving forward with confidence that you're still going in the right direction. Ask a lot of questions and gather data along the way. Find connection. Trying to do it all on our own, on an island, or without support is very, very difficult. People energize each other, people support each other, people can take over in times of stress, and people can bounce ideas off of each other to create a broader vision. And also people can challenge one another to think differently. So finding that tribe is super important. And that tribe can be here at the University of Olivet. We're going to continue to do things with leadership, some small groups, some reading groups, activities along the way with experiential learning, to find connection with people who want to think about how to lead well and lead courageously. Finally, staying calm. Using our new mindfulness muscle that we built today is an opportunity. Talking things through, journaling, reflecting on those things that are keeping us strong, and continuing to just breathe through and telling ourselves we can only control what we can control, and letting those other things fall away because they're just using your energy that could be focused on the goal that you and your followers are moving forward through. So we can all become more courageous the more we practice these 5 strategies. And I do suggest jumping into our library, our electronic library system, and pulling down this article by Galati about now is the time for courage. While you're in that library, I recommend pulling down this other article, which is actually in the same issue of the Harvard Business Review. And because I was so excited that Dustin Bird came in early today. And so we didn't do this session actually, but I'm going to go ahead and record it. So we've got the intel. It talks about what are the 6 types of everyday courage. It kind of goes along with that courage model that I just shared with you, but it really walks through how do we use these types of courage every day. And so this could be used like a checklist to make sure that you're accessing and activating these different types of courage and courageous thinking and courageous acting. So this article again is in that Harvard Business Review, the same one as the one with the lions. And so pull those both down, save them as PDFs so that you can take them with you, whether you're in a leadership program right now or whether you're gathering leadership resources so you can have a library. These 2 articles I think are super powerful. So those were some of kind of the big foundational ideas that that we were able to really connect a lot of things to. And what I'd like us to think about doing, and it's not something that we can do right now in our quick time that we have together, but I would like you to think about completing the Leadership Identity Development Assessment. So this is an assessment that we created here at the University of Olivet for our Master of Arts in Leadership program based on a number of studies that were done by Comvies and her colleagues about what are the stages of leadership that we go through as we evolve as leaders. And it's interesting to take this assessment because it will tell you where in that continuum you are right now. And there's a booklet that you'll receive when you take the assessment that will tell you here are some things that you can do to move yourself to that next level of leadership. And so it's a very simple assessment. You answer about 45 questions and you kind of rate yourself on each one of these statements about leadership, what you believe about these particular statements, and it puts you on a continuum. Once you get your results, just think to yourself, okay, where am I now on my leadership journey and what does it reveal about my strength and my growth edge? Where am I now and where do I want to go next? And so that's where you can start making a plan for leadership development. So taking a look at what these stages are, awareness is just understanding that there are leaders. And so oftentimes this is when we're in, middle school and high school, we start to see, oh yeah, there are people who are in charge of stuff. I mean, we know in the elementary school when we're little that people are in charge, but we start to see that our peers, our colleagues start to take that front position and start leading. And then as we start to see how people impact and influence other people, we start to become aware of the fact that, hey, maybe this is something that I can do. And then we start to think, hey, there are certain areas of my life that I would really like to be that person who brings people together toward a common goal. We start to identify with those leader behaviors. And then we start thinking about, okay, where can I be a beginning leader? Where are some areas where I might have some advanced skills where I can differentiate how I lead in different contexts? And then we get to the point where we think, I'm really able to bring people together toward a common goal. And maybe I can influence other people to develop as leaders as well. So we begin to generate activity and influence in helping other people become leaders. And for those folks who are in our Master of Arts in Leadership program, if we think about our situational leadership model, ultimately what we want to do with every person in our group, or if we're working, who we're supervising or managing, we want everyone to move from just doing the work to actually becoming a leader that can do things independently without our direction and actually start to have leadership responsibility. So we want to generate new leaders as we develop as a leader. And then in terms of integration and synthesis, we start to integrate leadership into all areas of our life, and it just becomes almost like second nature. And we become someone that is part of a leadership ecosystem that helps kind of think about how to lead in new ways. So that assessment will kind of give you an idea of where you are. And if you want to debrief and talk about that and some of the strategies, once you take it, you're welcome to shoot me an email and we can get together for coffee and talk through, okay, what's next based on what you know about your leadership. So knowing what we know about courageous leadership, knowing that we have assessments we can take to identify where we are in the journey, it's important to think about what's my intention? Where do I want to go next? And so what I would like for you to do when we're done with this session is just in your journal or wherever you make notes about things, about life, even on your phone in your notes, that might be best because you'll carry it with you. I would love for you to finish this stem. I intend to practice courageous leadership by, and just finish that sentence. And so think about what's one thing that you could do in the next 30 days that would be practicing courageous leadership. So for example, Raven, I'm going to ask you, is there something you can think of that an action you would take to practice courageous leadership?
Try to approach adverse situations from a more creative lens.
Okay, that's a great strategy. Alana, thoughts?
I was, I guess in the next 30 days, so I work with RAs, and maybe in my practice for improvisation, I could practice with them. Train us all at the same time. Just incorporate that into our regular training. And if it's helpful, I can let it might be able to be moved to the training for all RAs.
That would be outstanding. That would be awesome. And so a courageous action that I want to take in the next 30 days is I really want to use my voice more, and start to have a public voice about leadership out on the interwebs, doing more with LinkedIn and really starting to stretch my influence beyond just the folks that I work with in the ecosystems that I spend my time in day to day. So we really want to work toward setting intention and maintaining direction toward that intention, and then thinking about how to boldly show up as a leader starting tomorrow. Anything you do differently tomorrow?
I liked the gratitude session. I caught some of that with Evan is actually one of the apartment managers. And anyway, I think that's something I can start my day with tomorrow, is starting off with that gratitude and that mindset.
Awesome. And I love the idea that Sam had about the 3 things that we're grateful for, the one thing that didn't go well, and the one thing that did go well. I think that's what it was.
That's what I was.
Thank you for saying that, because I knew he said something cool, but I didn't remember what all the things were. So 3 grateful for, 1 that didn't go well, and 1 that did.
Yes, but here, it's all written down. When you registered, you got an email back.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully the program booklet was attached to that, and there are notes and questions for each session in that booklet. And so I've put those things from Evan and Sam's session in that booklet.
Great, thank you.
That's what inspired me to do reflective questions for each one of the sessions, is like, oh, I've got to put that in there for Evan and Sam. So yeah, and if you don't find it, just shoot me an email and I'll send it to you.
Awesome, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say because I managed to catch a little bit of the student panel as I was heading to my principles of marketing class, and that was one of the main things that I took away that I wanted to do was writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for every day because I think it's so important to uh, practice gratefulness for things in your life. I think it can get so easy to get so wrapped up in small things. And so that really stuck out to me. And I was glad that I got to catch some of it because I really wanted to support the student panel. So
But I'm glad you're able to catch it as well. So as we think about intentions, there's always opportunities here at the University of Olivet. So I want to share really briefly with you the opportunities that we have that are specifically focused on leadership development. So we have our Master of Arts in Leadership program that focuses on identifying the skills, knowledge, and abilities that you need to lead in specific contexts. And the series of 11 courses kind of works through the process of really distilling how to choose those particular knowledge, skills, and abilities and how to apply them in a lot of different contexts. Raven is involved in that program right now, super excited at the very beginning. And so we have concentrations in creativity, innovation, and change, leading and managing nonprofit organizations, and sport coaching leadership. And we also can customize a concentration of 4 courses among all of the Master of Arts in Leadership and MBA courses. So we can sit down and kind of customize it based on career goals and life goals. Our Master of Business Administration, similarly, we've got 5 different concentrations in the MBA. That program tends to be a little more analytical. So if you're more of a strategic analytic leader, that might be a more appropriate direction, whereas the MAL is more of a discovery focused, creativity focused, inspirational, transformational leader. MBA is more of a strategic analytic leader. And so again, we've got 5 different concentrations there, just from the names of them: accounting, enterprise risk management, insurance, business administration, management. Those are more of the analytical side. So happy to talk with anyone about those programs. Shoot me an email and we can jump on Zoom and walk through that particular set of opportunities. We also offer through graduate business programs our leadership certificates and our MBA certificates, which are 5 courses. You take the LDR 601, which is the leadership theory and practice course, and then you take 4 courses in the concentration. So if you already have a master's degree, or if you just want to start to explore graduate school, this is a great way to start by starting with a certificate. And if you want to continue with the master's, you can, or you can just stick with a certificate, and you can kind of create it as a menu of learning opportunities. Here at the undergraduate level, we have a variety of different kind of individual leadership opportunities that different degrees and programs work through. But for the entire campus, we have the Global Citizens Honors Program, which provides the opportunity to really dig into an area of specialization and become a thought leader on the campus in that particular area. The President's Leadership Institute is a by-nomination program where students are able to participate for a full year in strategic leadership development with the president and his cabinet. And then finally, the KBB Scholars Women's Leadership Institute is a transformational leadership community building organization that inspires anyone who wants to explore leadership and explore building community into their programs as well. So lots of different opportunities. If there are opportunities that you have that you would like to share with the campus, that you would like me to help you share, I'd be happy to do so. And know that we will be coming back every year with the Courageous Leadership Institute. If you have a recommendation of a speaker or a topic that you think would be appropriate, please let me know so we can start recruiting new talent and new creative leaders to inform and inspire us. It's been an amazing learning experience for me. I hope it's been an amazing learning experience for all of you. And I look forward to continuing to grow with all of you here on campus and our campus that's out in the world online. Together, we are bridge builders. We're building bridges from inspiration and wanting to lead and wanting to create change to actually creating that change for our world and the people in it, our communities, and the people that we care for, and the people who we lead. So it's your turn. It's your turn to boldly go. Please turn around and let us know how we can help you. That's what we're here for. Thanks so much for your participation. Go boldly. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank
you so
you.
much, Kelly. This was
You're
so
welcome.
great.
It's been great. Take care. I will see you around.
See you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.